Hello guys, welcome back to my world of programming. My name is Tumitladi. Right, this is gonna be part 2 of Fluent Validations in ASP.NET Core Web API. We're talking about the backend, web service, or RESTful service. Right, so I need you to watch part 1 before going further. And I want you to remember that I have a YouTube channel, a personal YouTube channel. Please take a look at it. It's very interesting. And all the videos I'm making right now, they're gonna be uploaded on License Any Tips YouTube channel, because here on YouTube platform, I'm not censored like I am censored on the social media platforms, right? So I decided to do part 2 so that you can understand how we end up with this predicament of, we cannot send a request to post to feedbacks a data to feedbacks table in a database, because our request was denied with 400 status code, which is bad request. But I want to show you where do the errors come from. So I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna reset and I'm gonna cancel, and I want you to see something. I'm expecting two things. When I send the request, I'm expecting either 200 success or 400 bad request. The bad request will come in as an array. It will tell me the field name and it will tell me the message, right? The field name, which is the property name, right? It will tell me what the message is, and there will be the value of it. So how does it know that? I'm glad. Remember, these are my custom error messages. So this is the request. This is the validation or validator for this request. So now we need to go back to the controller because it plays a major role. V1 general feedbacks V1 controller, and I want you to note that it's protected with authorized attribute. Now, so here's the thing. I'm not going to focus on get. I'm going to focus on post, because post is very interesting. So here we're going to add one feedback from the user to the system. Just to recap, the feedback is going to come from the mobile application. In the user's hands or on the device that the user is using, either Android or iOS, there's a page on that app called feedbacks. There you can send your recommendation, your suggestions, your complaints, your thoughts, and just a general feedback. I will receive it, and it's gonna come as a form of request, right? So before this executes, now normally I do have a try and catch block, but I don't have a something. So I want to show you how MVC deals with this guy and how Web API deals with it. I want you to see the difference, how Fluent Validation works. So let me open MVC. Where we add in the tags, I'm sure you've seen this a million times. I'm going to go to controllers, tips, where we add in the tags. This is a controller. The first thing I want you to notice on the add is this one, this check. It says whatever that comes here, we're going to check if the model state is valid. If it's not valid, it's going to throw in the error message. This is what I used to do before. So you've seen this, we are done. This is what I used to do here before. I would say if, right, model state dot is valid, but I would say if not. You can either do this, or you can say if that is false, right, then show an error message. So this is how I did with all my controllers, but now I don't do this anymore. I don't need to do that. In fact, okay, let me leave this here. I want you to pay attention to something, of which this guy says we're going to produce the response type of 400 bad request, and we're going to produce 200. If it's 200, we're not going to return anything. It's going to be void. But if it's bad request, this will be what's going to be returned to you. This is what you see here. The responses 200, 400, and if it's 400, this is what it shows what to expect. So where does this guy come from? Error response model. I'm glad you asked that question, right? Because if it's 400, it's going to say unable to add one feedback from the user due to validation errors. So the message is going to come, you see that message supposed to be written somewhere. Where we'll take a look at that, where it's written. Okay, cool. So let me go to models. I believe I have models folder. There we go. And in there I only have two things. I have a request model, but we are interested in what? The response model, right? So let me open the response model. Look at this guy. The response model needs the request. So let me go to the request. The request has two things, two properties, the field name and the message. Both of them are of type string. Isn't this familiar? Of course it is familiar, because if you get any error messages as a form of array, you're gonna expect the field name of type string and the message. So the field name is gonna be what is the property that threw the validation error, which is this one. Message is a property, and inside what is the message, and this will be the message, right? So how does it work? So I have this guy and this guy. So the error response model is going to return that as a list. So I have a property and I'm initializing this list to say public list of type error request model, and it's going to be errors. So this errors, it's what you see here, errors and errors. Whatever I write here, it's going to be what will appear on your Swagger UI. So be careful of what you name there. So get inside, and then like I said, I'm initializing that. So this is what the controller will know. I just need to do this. It will take care of the rest. So let's do that. Let's try to send the request. Try out. And then I'm going to pick up from part 1. Please watch part 1. So I'm going to remove this. It's going to be str, and I'm going to hit execute. So there we go. You see, this is the response number 1, bad request, and this are the errors. So remember, it's a list, right? An array. So I have a title, which is the field name. This guy, field name, right? And then the message, it's what appears from here. This is the message, because the validator said with the message, if there's going to be a problem with the length from 5 to 10, there's going to be the error message. And then the second one, rating, is a field name. Rating must be greater than 0. Now let me do that. Must be greater than 0, right? Let me make it 7. Check this. Execute. Still it says now the rating length should be between 1 and 5 characters. So if I fix that and say okay, it's gonna be 4, hit execute, and now it's being satisfied. So what it does is it removes it instantly and automatically. However, I believe that there's a reason why you don't see this line of code here to check the model state. I think it has to do with the filters. Let me close this guy and let me quickly go to installers. Where are the installers? Quickly, I don't have time. Quickly, there we go. MVC. So this guy, validation filter, validation filter. Okay, let me quickly go to it. So let's see what's in there. There we go. So this is the guy that does the magic. So I've learned about filters. I'm not gonna do a video about this, so it's a complex one. What you should know is the request is gonna be checked for each item if it's valid, and if it's not, it's going to be added to that property of type list. Listen, I can teach you all of this for 25 Rand per session for a full hour, anytime from Monday to Friday, from 8 p.m. until 9 p.m. If you know anyone who wants to learn programming, wants to go beyond whatever they know, holler at me.